when we were the first to push out the accurate article with boil downs by the French news agency and George Washington Blogspot to get it out there to the public that experts were saying the prevailing winds. And again, I'm not tooting my horn here. The point is we are being attacked for this, of course, because we're right. We're attacked all over the media for telling folks to buy gold. Went from $260 an ounce 11 years ago to $1,400. We're attacked. Silver goes from $5 to $35. We tell you buy it when it's $5. We're bad. Now you're going, that isn't logical. Yes, it is. Look at what happened to the prophets in the Bible. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, but a lot of times they got killed. People don't want to hear the truth, a lot of them. Sure, my audience wants to hear the truth. Matt Drudge wants to hear the truth. There you go. There's a Jetstream model. Let's blow that up right in the middle. It's at about 1 o'clock there at the 5160 grid for prisonplanet.tv viewers. We'll get this. I want to get links to this posted. Send that over to Kurt Nimmo. He's working from home today. Okay, there you go. Japan is 5280 on the graph. The U.S. East Coast is 5400. And there you see the Jetstream, ladies and gentlemen, traveling from 5280 to 5400 to 5280. That is the 5400 Jetstream. And you can see it directly coming in exactly where I told you it comes in over the Pacific Northwest. We'll be back with your phone calls, 800-259-9231. All right, now nuclear physicists are all over the news arguing about how bad this could be. But the Japanese government, as of Saturday, admitted that at least a partial meltdown did happen at Fukushima Reactor 1. Fukushima 3 blew sky high, and it looked like all the equipment inside was being hurled into the air. But we don't know. All we know is the media, from Haaretz to ABC Australia, is reporting that the Japanese have been deceptive so far. We're hoping that only cesium and radioactive iodine have been released. We know that's been released since Friday. And as more reactors have problems, that's more and more being put into the atmosphere. With all the other problems and tens of thousands dead, conservatively, from the tsunami and the earthquake, a volcano going off. Meanwhile, you've got Saudi Arabia talking about sending troops into another country. London Guardian, Saudi Arabia forces prepare to enter Bahrain after day of clashes. Crown Prince of Bahrain expected to invite Saudi support following anti-government demonstrations in capital. The day of rage expanding over there. Gaddafi winning big battles against the rebels. The West accelerating plans to start aerial bombardments and no-fly zones. This is getting crazy. I mean, the whole world is getting crazy. The ancients always made the point about the Ides of March, how it seemed like crazy things happen in March, the month of Mars. You know, that's, for whatever reason, superstition that happened. There's another bizarre video that's gotten 300,000 views that I happened to see last week, funny enough, with a woman talking about this comet coming through tomorrow on the 15th, which is coming through between some of the planets, and this planetary alignment. And the ancients always believed that planets aligning dealt with disasters, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. And we know the sun manipulates the magma with its radiation and the magnetic field. We know the moon affects the tides of the oceans, but also the magma. And I had a top astrophysicist, meteorologist, Piers Corbin, on Friday, who does believe that this coincided with the huge solar flare that hit the southern hemisphere the day of the mega 9.1, upgraded from 8.9 in Japan, in the northern Pacific, right off their coast. And that the moon was the main driver of the sun's secondary, but those two things happened together. But I am going to play, coming up after we take some of your phone calls, a few minutes of this bizarre prediction where this woman shows NASA's own, alignment scope of the planets and this comet. And she says, on the 8th, I wouldn't be on any fault lines on the 11th. And she says, it's going to get worse on the 15th. And again, I don't normally go off people who are just getting paranoid off stuff, but it is interesting. It is interesting, so we'll just play that because it's gotten a lot of attention, and people obviously have heard about it and want to see it and want to hear it. Tyler, Kevin, David, Richard, Steve, and others. The good news is Dr. Bob Bowman is a nuclear physicist. He has seen both of the explosions. He does know that the Japanese government has reported as of Saturday night that a meltdown caused nuke plant explosion. But he's saying that's not a total meltdown. He says it could happen. But when you see number 3 completely blow off the map, well, we're going to talk to him. He's saying that doesn't necessarily mean it's been a total meltdown, which again, would be amazingly good news, because we don't want uranium shooting out of there. We already have the cesium and the radioactive iodine confirmed, and they've moved people back more than 60 miles now, and there are a bunch of reports on radiation poisoning. In fact, guys, will you get me the latest on radiation poisoning news? All right, Tim in Germany, Kevin in Arizona, David in Washington, Richard in Vermont, Steve in Ohio. I'm going to go to all of you very quickly. But then I want to only open the phones up for nuclear physicists or nuclear disaster relief people, folks that have worked in nuclear power plants, to give us your view, your perspective. We got Gerald Salente coming up in 30 minutes, popping in for 10 minutes of that interview at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Bob Bowman, nuclear physicist, former head of the Star Wars weapons program. And talking to him, he says, yes, it's a major disaster. Obviously, some stuff's been released, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's been a full meltdown of the reactor itself. I don't know. I'm going to ask him on air if he's seen Fukushima number 3 blowing up this morning. A mushroom cloud, sky high, black wreckage shooting straight up. You see the containment outside blow out, and then straight up. I mean, how could anything survive that? How could any of the other plants around it survive it? I don't trust government. I don't trust the Japanese government, to tell the truth. And they've been caught lying, saying there was no meltdown going on Friday or Saturday. Now they say a meltdown did occur. That's mainstream news. A bunch of other newspapers are reporting that they believe a cover-up's going on.